Banana Estate slept peacefully as the rain dropped in heavy torrents. Somewhere in one of the houses and asleep in their bedroom was Mr. and Mrs. Okoya, cuddled sweetly as it rained throughout the night. At that hour of the night, and judging by the weather, it was least expected to have a human walking, or more specifically, sneaking around. But amidst the unfavorable weather, an intruder smoothly and quietly made her way into their home. Through the windows, she quietly sneaked in, her face twisted in a sinister smile as she watched the couple sleep. She couldn't help it. She couldn't stay away. She just had to see what he looked like in bed at night. He was her new obsession, her latest attraction, and she was willing to go all the way. She tiptoed before them, careful not to make a sound. But in her deep sleep, Mrs. Okoya felt a strange presence in the room. She quickly jerked up and sat on the bed, her eyes darting to and fro, but she didn't see anyone. Suddenly, she felt a slight wave of the curtains and the unmistakable movement of a human. Though very slight, she knew it couldn't be the wind. Honey, please wake up!" She shook her husband, who was fast asleep. "There is someone inside our room," she said, her face a wreck of panic and fear. Her husband's face mirrored hers as he awoke. He instantly became scared and alert. "Someone in our room?" he asked. The rain pounded on the roof, and the cool wind swooshed into their room from the open window. "Don't you think it is the sound of rain and the breeze from the window? It's not possible for anyone to climb into our room, because this is an upstairs," he said, although he became scared. His wife was still not satisfied. "Babe, you have to check it out. I saw something move behind the curtain," she insisted. Her husband got up sluggishly, stretching his body, which was still half asleep, as he dragged himself to the window. He pulled the curtain apart and tore his gaze back to his wife. "Are you satisfied now? There is no one here. It's just the wind," he said, closing the windows. She pouted her lips in a gentle defiance. "I know what I saw. Babe. It wasn't the wind," she insisted. Her husband drew her close in an embrace. "It's okay, my love. I know you get scared of the rain sometimes. Don't worry, I will hold you closer as we sleep," he assured her. They went back to bed and soon drifted into a deep sleep. Meanwhile, outside the building was a woman clinging to the wall of the window. It was a very close call. She hadn't expected Mrs. Okoya to be a light sleeper. Thankfully, her husband didn't take her serious and probed any further, else she would have been discovered. The rain was still pounding in heavy torrents, but she had to make her way back to her house. It would be daybreak soon, and the further she remained there, the more she risked being seen. Gently and quietly, she braced herself for the jump and leaped into the air, falling to the floor with a thud. She quickly ran and made her way to her vehicle, which was parked a few meters away, and then she glanced back at the building. "I will be back again," she said to herself, "and I will make sure to eliminate Mrs. Okoya from the picture and take over her children, her home, and her husband."
Lagos skyline sparkled like 1,000 diamonds under the moonlit sky, but Linda barely noticed. Seated in her plush office, her thoughts were elsewhere, consumed by that single incident of last 2 weeks. She twirled her pen between her fingers, her mind playing the scenes over and over like a reel she couldn't turn off. It was past 7 when she finally made her way out of her office, and she was alone. She quietly walked to the elevator and rolled to the last floor. With her elegant figure that all Lagos big boys wanted to have a taste of, she knew she was irresistible. But only one man consumed her thoughts and awakened her desires. She was past all boundaries of reasoning and sanity. She entered into her car and turned on her ignition as she slowly reversed and hit the road. She had stalked him one time and followed him home, so she knew where he lived with his family. She maneuvered her way through the traffic till she was out of the industrial city. Then she steadily made her way into the estates. As she drove into the streets, she slowed down, her eyes roaming the houses, searching for the number. The streets were calm, except for the occasional barking of dogs or sounds of birds. It was past 8 by the time she finally saw it. She wound down the glasses and turned off the ignition, staring at the house. Her mind wandered into dangerous zones. What part of the house was he right now? Was he reading in his study? Or was he having dinner with his family? Was he taking a shower? Or was he in bed? The last two possibilities pleased her, and she wished, but she knew she couldn't go in. No logical explanation would suffice to justify her presence at his home at this hour. But one thing was clear. Dr. Jude Okoya was more than just a therapist to her now. He was her future. Their meeting was no coincidence. It was fate. The universe had meant for them to be together, and nothing would stand in her way. Linda had a perfect family, a doting husband, and an adorable daughter. Her world seemed perfect, and she was content with what she had. But one rainy night, as they returned home from a vacation, everything changed. The rain wasn't just falling that night, it was crashing, the kind that blurred vision, soaked hearts, and silenced reason. Linda's husband was driving. Their daughter slept in the back seats, a soft smile still on her face, clutching the stuffed rabbit she never let go of. But then came the screeching tires, the blinding headlights, and the sound. That sound of metal twisting, glass breaking, and time stopping. The accident claimed everything. Her husband, her daughter, her world. But somehow, Linda survived. At 38 years old, Mr. Jude Okoya carried himself with the calm intensity of a man twice his age, a quality that made him both respected and deeply trusted in his field. Born and raised in the quiet town of Mbano, Imo State, Jude had always been a listener. He noticed when others were hurting, and he lingered a little longer when someone needed to be heard. That gift led him to become a clinical psychologist and trauma therapist at Palms Hospital in Lagos, where he now lives with his wife and 2 children. Standing at an impressive 5 foot 8 inches, with abs and biceps that would give Anthony Joshua a run for his money, Mr. Jude's dark-skinned physique was a sight for sore eyes. His colleagues admired him, not just for his sharp mind, but his unwavering dedication to his patients. He went the extra mile, sometimes too far, to help others find healing. But it was his love for his family that truly defined him. To the world, he was a calm in a storm. To his children, he was a fortress. And to his wife, he was a hero, a symbol of dedication, resilience, and integrity. Mr. Jude sat across this grief-stricken woman in his office, whose face seemed like it had seen joy and laughter once upon a time. What he saw now was a complete shadow of a woman. He never could tell the pain she was facing, the kind of grief that ate deep to the marrow. He had witnessed it one too many times, how grief played out in people's lives. It changed people, hollowed them out. And part of his job as a trauma therapist at Palms Hospital was to piece people back together, to teach them how to breathe again when it felt like the air had been stolen. But there was something different about this case, about this woman. Linda sat stiffly in the corner of his office, her eyes dull, her hair tangled into a messy bun. She looked like she hadn't slept in weeks. "I'm only here because my sister insisted," she said without looking up. "So don't expect miracle." Mr. Jude leaned forward, keeping his voice low and even.
Then we'll start with silence. Sometimes that's where healing begins,
he replied with a soft tone. Linda blinked. This wasn't what she expected. She actually didn't know what she expected, but it certainly wasn't a man willing to sit with her through her pain. They just sat there for what seemed like forever, finding comfort in the silence. Linda soon drifted off to sleep, a long and deep sleep that she hadn't had since the nights of the terrible accident. The sessions became regular, and slowly Linda began to speak. She spoke about the accident, about the funeral, about the unbearable quietness in her apartment, which was once filled with bedtime stories and laughter. Jude listened. Sometimes she cried, sometimes she raged, sometimes she said nothing at all, but he was always there. One afternoon after their session ended, she stared at him long and hard, her eyes twinkling with admiration as she said, "You have this calm about you. It's as if nothing ever touches you." Mr. Jude smiled faintly.
Everything touches me. I've just learned not to bleed where others can see.
"Wow, it's such a powerful resource you have, Mr. Jude," Linda said, touching his arms gently. "And I'm so grateful I can tap from that resource. You're such a great source of strength to me," she said, with what felt like desire etched in her voice. Mr. Jude shifted uncomfortably in his chair as he tried to take off his arms from her.
I'm glad to be of help, Linda. But you have the greater strength because not many could have pulled through and remained this strong despite the immense loss that you have faced. Believe me, you are the superwoman,
he said, praising her. Linda gushed at his compliments, feeling a sense of warmth and comfort that she hadn't felt in a long time. Mr. Jude was certainly a good man, a one-of-a-kind kind of man, and his therapy sessions had really helped her to pull through these trying times. But as he watched him go over to his desk and saw how his muscles contracted under his shirts, his strong thighs clasping against his pants, and his long, thick fingers gripping the telephone, she decided that the therapy sessions were no longer enough to help her pull through. She needed something more physical. With that, Linda started dressing differently. She went to the salon and got her hair and mani-pedi done. She bought new clothes, perfumes, and lingeries. She started arriving earlier to the appointments, even bringing him coffee and asking him about his day. Mr. Jude, who was oblivious to her treacherous plan, smiled up at her, happy to see her gradually coming out of her shell.
I can see you are in much higher spirits now. It's good to see you look happy and back to your old self,
Mr. Jude said, as he noticed her gorgeous look. Oh, he's finally noticing, she thought, smiling to herself. Oh yes, and I have you to thank for that, she smiled, extending her hands out for a hug. Before Mr. Jude could react, she engulfed him in a tight hug, rubbing herself all over him as she wriggled and giggled in his arms. Mr. Jude was taken aback, now fought the urge to hold her in return as her perfume seeped into his nostrils, seducing his senses. Finally, reason gave way to reasonability, and he tactfully broke away from her.
You're welcome, Linda.
He cleared his throat and tried to remain professional.
It's my job to help you return to your old self.
Linda formulated all kinds of ways to keep Mr. Jude locked in on her. She would complain of nightmares and heart palpitations. She would text him at odd hours to complain of high blood pressure. She would ask him to come over to her house instead for their therapy sessions because she felt safer there. She would even beg him to go on ridiculous errands. And Mr. Jude was always there, helping, soothing, cheering, and comforting, never turning her down. It was what he did for other clients, and so for Linda, he never saw it as a special favor. But little did he know that he was a fish about to be caught in a deadly hook. One evening, after their therapy session at her place, she touched his arm lightly and requested them to have dinner together, but he immediately turned her down.
My wife and kids are waiting to have dinner with me tonight. It's our special family night and I really have to go. I'm sorry,
he said. Her face fell just then. She wasn't used to getting turned down by Mr. Jude, and this broke her heart. Oh, of course, family is everything, she said with a smile. Mr. Jude thanked her for understanding, and he hurriedly left. Linda watched him from the window as he drove off, her hands clutching the curtains tightly in rage and envy. He was going back to his wife and children, while she was left to languish in loneliness and misery. How could he say that to her face? How could he tell her so boldly that tonight was special for him and his family? Was he so insensitive that he couldn't see what he was doing to her? She screamed as she crawled to the floor, her heart writhing in agony. Who was the wife anyways, that she had to be so special to take Jude from her? How beautiful was she? What exactly made her special to Jude? She thought with a smirk on her face, as a mischievous thought crept into her mind. Well, Mr. Jude, let's see just how special your family night turns out for you. Tonight, you will have to choose between me and that wretched wife of yours, who is more important to you. Back at his home, the house bubbled with laughter of the children as they cuddled together in the sitting room, about to watch their family favorite movie of the week. Mr. Jude and his wife cuddled together on the couch, his fingers tracing her hair as she nestled herself in his arms and ate her popcorn. It was a cozy night for them with promise of more as the night ebbed away. Right in the middle of their movie, Mr. Jude's phone started ringing. He ignored it the first few times it rang. It was his family night and nothing ruins it. But the call got persistent and his wife became worried. Are you sure you don't want to get that? The caller must be in distress to keep calling you, she said, urging him to take the call. Mr. Jude sighed and took his phone, his face slowly turning to a frown once he saw it was Linda.
Hello, Linda,
he said as he picked up the call. I'm not okay, Jude. I'm not okay. I've been having very bad thoughts. I don't trust myself tonight. Please come, she begged.
Linda, please don't do anything rash. Can we stay on the phone instead while I talk you through whatever it is?
He asked. I don't trust myself all alone here, Jude. Please. I'm having very evil thoughts and I can't stay on the phone. I'm restless and scared. Please come over, she begged. Mr. Jude looked at the time. It was 10 p.m. He sighed.
Okay, I'm on my way.
He responded and cut the call. Baby, who was that? What's going on? His wife asked.
It's a client, sweetheart. I'll explain everything when I get back.
He said as he grabbed his car keys. He blew a kiss to his children and dashed out of the house. Her apartment was dim, lit only sparsely by scented candles, which made the apartment smell like heaven. She wore a red lingerie that did nothing to hide her seductive figure. She ran and hugged Mr. Jude as soon as he entered the room, her eyes red from crying.
I was so worried about you,
he said.
I thought you've been feeling much better recently. What's changed?
He asked with concern etched in his voice. I don't feel real anymore, she whispered. I keep hearing my daughter's laugh, and when I turn around, there's no one there. I can't sleep alone. I'm too scared to be alone, Jude, she muttered tearfully.
You're not alone, Linda. I'm here with you.
He wrapped his arms around her in a comforting gesture. Linda held on tightly, rubbing her hands on his back as she smiled mischievously, seeing that her plans were progressing well. She leaned into him, trembling, as she brought her lips up to meet his.
Linda.
Jude's voice was muffled beneath the kiss. His hands moved to her shoulders to push her away, but she clung to him like a lifeline. Please, don't say anything, she whispered against his mouth. Please, just stay. Jude's heart pounded. He should leave. This was a line he never crossed with his clients or anyone else for that matter. He should have left long ago. But grief had a scent, and hers smelled like perfume, loss and unspoken longing. The moment caved in on itself. Logic drowned under hate and desire. He kissed her back, and they both fell into the couch. And just like that, the lines blurred and then vanished. If you want to know how this story progressed, consider hitting the subscribe button to join my community so you can stay updated about the next parts of the story. Also, check out other videos on my channel, and don't forget to like, leave your comments and share to your friends. And until my next video, remain blessed.